Hello, everybody. This is your girl, Monica Reagor from My GRC POV, and I'm back again here at the annual summit for NABCRMP, and I'm so excited because we have with us one of the individuals for the planning committee, but also a huge influencer and voice in the financial institution, and that is Shawna DeCamp. Shawna, welcome to My GRC. So I got a question. My question is, how do you think the conference is going?
Conference is going phenomenal. I think one of the speakers touching so many topics that needed a lot of outside questions already. So I think that's what this is in terms of talking about resumes, what we can do with our end. I think right from this also responding. So I think people are actually also doing their players, sharing different perspectives.
Listen, I think so too, but she's the planner on the planning committee, so it's pretty important we get her feedback. Of course. Right. So I'm gonna jump right into our questions. So Shawna, yeah. I think it's really important is how has NABCRMP influence your career growth or perspective on compliance and risk management?
You're going to have very me, NABCRMP has definitely not only my career growth, but people. I think the folks that I've met, they kind of challenge my way of thinking on this issues. I think that it also pushed me. I never thought of myself necessarily as being this, person of like sort of a global business. I still don't know if I'm big like that, but it definitely pushed me forward to be on the leadership role. And so I'm actually able to be part of it. I'm very glad that I'm joining levels of shit. It's impacted my leadership. So all of it, I'm shaping.
Yeah. So listen, one of the things I want to follow up with them is that you lead one of the work groups such as that, and that consumer compliance. What are your thoughts and what have you seen so far? What are some of the things you want to do forward?
So I think that for me, one of the things I want to do this year, and I spoke to Jim about this recently, was just touching on these were some that are really under what I do here, and I'm a real worker, and I was you want to see people become, especially if you're a part of the work group. That's what we're here for. Yeah, we're here to not only educate each other, learn from each other, also provide a platform that people can grow and also transition. Yeah, and so that's what I want to see.
Yeah, I think that's super important, and that's what you said. Like work groups are this more intimate space where you can ask them questions and then hopefully get the feedback they're looking for, and then consider what they may have not known, and then also be empowered to make those transitions. So I really love that. So listen, if you're part of NABCRMP and you're not a part of the consumer compliance, shame on you. But make sure you check out and have a conversation with Shawna about it. So Shawna, I'm gonna jump into our second question. What do you see as the biggest challenge facing compliance and risk professionals today? And how do you, what's some of your thoughts on addressing it?
I think some of the biggest challenges facing compliance today and even risk is regulatory changes, like rapidly changing, evolving culture or so I think that pertains to what relates to those are things that I think, and even with
Yeah.
workshops today, I think that it's compliance folks have to definitely kind of rethink and adapt to kind of reprogram their way of approaching these things and what they think about it. Sometimes we get stuck in this one way of doing things, and that's just when the changes is happening, it's teaching us out, it's pushing us rather out of our comfort zone and towards something else, something better. And more education. Right? So I think compliance folks need to educate themselves on these things that are kind of the challenge for us in this culture.
Absolutely, I agree. One of the things is if you don't do anything else, you have to be a lifetime learner in compliance.
Absolutely.
Because it absolutely changes on a daily spaces.
Yeah.
And so to your point, I think we have to become more educated in our spaces.
Yeah,
And then the spaces that we don't necessarily find ourselves at next.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You cannot survive in compliance, I think, without being able to adapt and having some sort of flexibility in the way that you think and in the way that you approach, risks or in the way that you approach anything systems anymore. Like you have to be able to adapt and have flexibility.
I totally agree. So just the final question, we're definitely gonna have to bring Shawna to the podcast so we can talk for an hour, okay? Because there's a lot to ask. But just one more question, and that is, as we look ahead, what changes or opportunities do you believe industries must embrace to ensure greater equity, accountability, and inclusion?
Well, first off, I think that understanding that equity and inclusion is strategic. It's a strength. It is not something to be at the sideline.
Yeah.
I think understanding that to be successful in our spaces, this is a must.
Yeah.
Embracing that kind of diverse talent, diverse culture is a must to be successful in what we are in our industry, in compliance and risk. And so I think that's one of the things that I want to see shift and change. And just understanding that diverse talent is what it's going to take to push it even forward, especially with this rapid changing government that's happening with these new laws that are being implemented, with the security risks that we're seeing, whether it comes as it relates to sanctions on different governments. I want to say in days of this government. Definitely, I want to see equity and inclusion more focus.
Absolutely. So my next question, I want to give you a bonus question to that point. Why is that, in your opinion, is so important in bringing equity and inclusion and even accountability to the space?
I think for me, what I've seen is, when you think of NABCRMP, you see National Association of Black, right? The wonderful thing that I find with NABCRMP is that, yes, this is for Black professionals to interact and get a safe space and be able to, learn and embrace each other and connections. But we can't do that without our allies. I mean, having those allies.
Yeah.
And that's what I see. And that's why I think it's not going to be safe space for all of us. We get to learn from each other, not just as color, but also our allies. What are their thoughts and their perspective on diversity and inclusion, those things.
I totally agree. And I think that also making sure that everyone has a seat at the table, because if we don't take the time to engage our allies, we may not always know or understand how they see it.
Right.
And I think oftentimes, because it's easy to look at with tunnel vision, like
Right.
it is a people of color, this is their viewpoint, this is what they experience, but it's like, okay, but how does it look on the outside? And then bring people
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think what kind of brings us together too is like when you think about risk or cybersecurity, and I mean, color is stripped away. We have similar ways of approaching these things, similar ways of thinking. So that shouldn't even be impacted on what it is, right? And then when we think about all of those things, I think people with diverse backgrounds, people that are diverse, can bring a different level of thought process to something. You may not approach it this way, right? Because I'm coming from where I'm coming from. I have a different perspective. Sometimes fresh perspective is needed. Yeah, to kind of like.
Yeah, to your point, I had a previous guest, her name is Wendy Sheridan. I think you know her. She spoke a couple of years ago at our Women's Leaders and GRC event. And she said it's diversity of thought. What we bring to the table is diversity of thought. And so I love that term. And so to your point, we actually have to have those conversations because we bring something, a different perspective, but even a unique
Absolutely.
way to the table for excitingly enough, I'm so glad that one, I met you because without NABCRMP, I would have not hadn't met Shawna.
Very true. So 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, right. And then so I think it's really important. So what are your thoughts? And I promise you I'm wrapping up, but I love having conversations with people. What are your thoughts going forward in the next 5 years? Because it's innovation, it's inclusion, it's impact for NABCRMP. What do you want to see?
Oh, that's a tough one. Oh, my thoughts going forward. Well, I think that because NABCRMP is kind of ahead, definitely see growth. I wouldn't be surprised if that probably double the size of like the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Because NABCRMP is, I think, the industry where you see a lot of the innovation. We talk about. Sometimes we talk about things, but we don't actually do that. We don't implement it.
Yeah.
I think the NABCRMP is not only about speaking about those things, but it's actually like implementation for it and actually walking that way. And so I think over the next 5 years, NABCRMP will kind of take the lead.
Yeah.
And what I would love to see, which I think is what I think NABCRMP will be very much a nationwide organization where people realize this is a safe space to grow. And then people realize that, wait a minute, there's an organization I can relate to that it's like me, that offers allies, that offers mentorship, that offers connection, meaningful connection, where I can come together and grow as a girl. And I think that is what I'm going to see. There's more leaders pushing out entrepreneurs being birthed like that.
Absolutely, I agree. And this is one of the reasons why I started my GRC POV. And again, it's government compliance in my community. But it's because of NABCRMP. NABCRMP is the reason why I've had this platform where people have seen me as an expert. One, taking the leap of faith and sharing my own opinion or thought process, but also learning from people like yourselves who are experienced in this space. And but then again, NABCRMP is giving that platform where people can share the information and it's like, go.
Yes.
What you have in the industry, and it's not a miss. It's whatever you're learning, and you bring it back, and you pay it forward. And so, to your point, I'm looking forward to that. I think to your point, we're already and we need to keep doing this. I don't know.
Absolutely. And listen, when I first met this young woman here, I'm telling you, just all of confidence, and that's the other thing that I see with NABCRMP. Like, there's some folks I met before, and I see them now. There's more confidence in who they are, not only in their career and their journey, but just as a person. And so, yeah, I mean, if you're not a member of NABCRMP, you need to join today. You're missing a lot.
You heard it here first, maybe fifth, sixth, but listen, you want to join NABCRMP. This is not about just people of color, but this is excellence. We want to showcase excellence, and your voice matters in everything that you do. And so, again, if you're not doing anything, you're like, how do I expand my career in GRC? You want to connect. Right here. We're in New Orleans right now. We're at the 5th Annual Summit. I am so glad that Shawna decided to stop by between the breakout sessions, but we're almost wrapping up for the day. Shawna, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
So listen, this is your girl, Monica Reagor from My GRC POV. And until next time, be amazing. Talk to you later, guys.